let's get into Ajax's finances, because I think they're fascinating. I mean, I was just looking at your numbers going back over the last few years, and look, your income is about sort of, mid to lower level Premier League, but with one really interesting variable: how far you go in the Champions League.
Yeah,
you go a long way in the Champions League. It's half your money, isn't it?
That's true. I think our budget in the last couple of years has been increasing, but when we go out, let's say the normal budget is 140, 150 million, and that is including a lot of money from Champions League. Commercial revenue were around, I think we grew over the last 7-8 years from 23 to 35 million. We have some good partners like Gill, our main sponsor. Adidas has been with us a long time, so that's something where we can work for ourselves. That's money that you can earn yourself by the performance on the pitch, the way we put the club out on the marketing side, on the commercial side. But for example, TV rights, we are getting around 9 million TV money in as the biggest club in Holland. And
that's euros, of course. 9 million euros.
Yeah, so I think the number 20 in the Premier League is getting 120, 130 million pounds. So that's almost all our budget with ticket sales, with commercial partners, TV revenue. So we have a massive challenge to perform on the highest level in European football. I think we're an iconic club. Everybody knows, I think, the name Ajax, the players that we developed, but the challenges that we have are massive if we want to perform on the European top level, and that's Champions League and making a difference there.
So at the start of a financial year, do you have a set level you have to achieve in the Champions League? Do you put that into a budget? Because that's very difficult, isn't it? In what, in essence, it is a cup competition still. I know there's a group stage, but when so much of your money comes from a cup competition, that must be quite difficult to build into a budget.
Yes, that's where we done it the last 4 years. We've built it into our budget. Before that, it was for example playing Europa League till Christmas. But at that point, we didn't get to play in the Champions League enough, for example. And if you want to play Champions League, you have to have a Champions League budget. So, and of course, Ajax is well renowned by developing players, given the opportunity to play. And after 2, 3, 4 years, most of the time they perform at a really high level, then other clubs start knocking on our door. So we have been selling players for a long time. Also, when we played in the Champions League 2010 till 2014, that income we used it a little bit, but also put it on as a reserve for worse times. So we were quite able to make the decision, because we had a healthy bank balance. Where I think one of the clubs is we don't have any debt. We have what I said, like a healthy bank balance. So I think we were able to take the opportunity to have a more offensive budget than normal. And I think what I spoke to also to the supervisory board and the shareholder, Ajax is well known about creative football, attacking football, and on the budget side we were a little bit defensive, playing the ball along in the midfield instead of making passes to the strikers. So that's what we changed 4 years ago.
Do you like the challenge of building the club up so that they are successful in the Champions League? Then, as you say, clubs come and pick those players, and you're starting again. Or do you think, oh my God, I just wish for an easy life, and we continue to build this squad and be successful? Which is it?
I think the most successful squads in history are teams who are for a certain period together. But we know Holland, being one of the smaller or mid-sized countries in Holland, what I already said about the TV revenue of around 9 million, we know the quality of the players that we developed, the scouting department that Mark Overmars leads. If we find the right players who can perform for the club for 2, 3, 4 years, and then we know that there's a next step. The players want to maybe develop into in an even better player, and they like to challenge themselves even more. So we know that situation that was in the 70s, that has been in the 80s for ourselves in the 90s. with the players that we have, with David, with Slater, with Kluivert, Overmars, De Boer, Lidmanen. At a certain point, we had success, and then the teams start knocking on your door, and you make a next move, and that makes us proud also.
But I'm just wondering about, your player trading model, which has been so successful over the years. You mentioned the 90s team that was picked apart. And, you've done well in recent years. I'm thinking of Sillerson and Frankie de Jong to Barcelona for good money. What's it like now? Because it does appear that the COVID has had an impact on the entire European transfer system. Are you feeling that at Ajax? Is it harder to sell players for good money, for reasonable money?
No, I think the most important thing is that you need to develop them. You need to give them opportunity to play, and of course for us it's much higher to keep the same level. And normally clubs look at let's say the positions 9 till 13, and they lose the weakest players and try to improve the squad. And for us, we always lose the top 4 players, and we have to adjust. And for example, this year we're reaching a certain level again, but it's extremely hard, of course. We sold some players to Barcelona, to Juventus, to England. Of course, money in big leagues must flow down the pyramid. That's, I think, for development of football, it's utmost important. If there's only, let's say, money in the top 5 leagues, then football is dead, because you need investment in football, you need investment in youth coaches, you need investment in infrastructure. And I know that's the question also in the UK about the grassroots football, and that's something where we have to make sure that the European football pyramid is there. And at Ajax we are dependable on the big clubs if they come knocking on our door to buy our players. And of course, Mark Overmars is a very good negotiator, and I think the quality that we deliver for players here at Ajax or the next step is eminent in and a great example how a club in different financial leagues as others, not where you compete, can survive.
You mentioned that you asked your board to be a little bit more aggressive, to play slightly more attacking football, if you like, in terms of the budget. And you also talked about your marketing, your commercial growth, which is obvious to me looking from the outside in. And I think one of the most innovative deals I've seen this season is your Bob Marley shirt, which I know there's a good story behind it. I mean, UEFA initially had a slight problem with the shirt, but you managed to get that fixed. So tell me a little bit what it was. Tell me about dealing with the Bob Marley estate and how you came to the idea of that shirt and how well it's done. Is it doing well? It seems to do well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, those are things. Of course, with Adidas, it's a trusted partner for a long time, so the connection is there. And how do you increase your revenue? That's our stadium is full, so you need to look on the commercial side. And together with Adidas, we've been focusing on creating a story around Ajax, original story around Ajax. And for example, the Bob Marley song "Three Little Birds," that song has been I think initiated in 2008, 2009 with a game that we played in Wales, when our supporter needed to wait after the game, and the DJ put the song up, and the wave section started to sing it. And every when the team comes up in the second half, our fans are singing this song. So that's why it was a connection. And so we started together with Adidas, spoke with the Marley, one of the daughters and the son from Bob Marley, also with some of the agents and the people around the family, and came up with the idea to make a tribute to Bob Marley, to our supporters. And that worked extremely well. The amount of jersey that we've sold from this iconic jersey has been amazing, to be fair. And even we expected not so much interest as has been seen through the whole world.
When you talk about your brand, then following on from that, we talk about top 5 leagues and big clubs and their brands, and sometimes people don't like using the word brand when it comes to a football club. But where would you put your brand within the European Football League? Are you in the top 10 of European football clubs with your brand, would you say?
I want to be something different, and of course, I think the quality that we all the time need to deliver We have to work on the top of our qualities, to be fair, to improve the team all the time, to make sure that we're competitive, that we can play Champions League football, that we can make a difference with homegrown players. And that's something that's ideal. The problem we have, the Dutch league is not very much watched all over the world on a Saturday or Sunday. A game against Ajax, against PSV is not that important as Man United against Brighton, Hove and Albion, for example. So we are lacking exposure. That's hurting us also. So we have to be original. So we have to find ways to make Ajax visible to the football world. And of course, we have that with an iconic jersey. Our shirt doesn't change. It's still the red lane on a white shirt instead of, and it's still vertical, and not like somebody is certainly making vertical stripes horizontal, not using different colors. So we have to have original marketing actions. We have to players who are well-known names in Europe. Let's say that's Frenkie de Jong or Matthijs de Ligt or Hakim Ziyech. Yeah. The moment you can maybe capitalize on them, they're going to move to a different club. So for us, it's more the name Ajax, the jersey, the heritage, Johan Cruyff, Amsterdam, the three crosses, or now the iconic Bob Marley shirt. Those are moments that we need to thrive and make sure that we are counted for.
Speaking of, though, we were, Mark, and of course your amazing manager Erik ten Hag. He's just topped the Champions League group. I think that's the first time a Dutch team has done that, isn't it? Six wins out of 6.
Yeah, I think we topped the league, we topped the group. I think in our time around 95, 96 times, but not winning 6 out of 6, and it's a great performance. I think the level of ambition that we put aside the last couple of years was participating in Champions League. The last 2-3 years we've been aiming to go to the last 16. That happened in 18-19. We were very unlucky the 2 years after. I think you remember the game at Chelsea 2 years ago. We were winning 4-1. Not clear blue sky, for example, and in 5 seconds we got 2 red cards and a penalty against, and at the end we finished 4-4. So we've been unlucky in the past, but we created there's some players, Daley Blind, Dusan Tadic, but there's still players who are went with us on the trip in 18-19. But we, for example, Ryan Gravenberg or Jurjen Timber, those are the replacements from Matthijs de Ligt and Frenkie de Jong. And they're playing at the same or maybe even a higher level than those guys. And that makes it interesting to work for Ajax. It's always a challenge to find the players, to connect them to you, to believe the story that we are putting in front of them, and to have 2 homegrown players back into the team. That's our DNA.
Well, obviously retaining playing talent is important, but I mean, we've been talking about Mark Overmars, we've talked about Erik. Retaining your off-field talent's really important as well. You get offers, don't you? You get links with jobs. There's a job available here in England that you're often linked with. Mm-hmm. Is that flattering that one of your former teams, Manchester United, for example?
Oh, really? I think whatever. I think every job you do, you want to do it as good as possible, and I think we have had success on the pitch as a player, winning trophies, getting respect, and for us it's important to do the same trick as a director, and in the position that we're doing now, and that you're linked or talked about, is something that we enjoy. Of course, that means we're doing something right, but the feeling is that we're not ready yet here in Amsterdam. I think there's still room to improvement, and the way Erik, we had a contract meeting with him last year, and he saw really improvement into the team. He saw there's still possibility to perform at a higher level, and that's the way he is doing that, the way the players are developing. It's fantastic, and that your name once in a while pops up. Yeah, of course, I got a connection with United, but I'm extremely happy here in Amsterdam.
I have to say, I often think that's really undervalued within sport in general, Edwin. That if you are being challenged by your job and feel that you are improving and you are happy, why on earth would you want to go anywhere else? I mean, sport seems to throw all of those rules out the window. In any other business, you go, hang on a minute, this is absolutely perfect for me. Why on earth would I want to go somewhere else when I am benefiting so much from the role that I am doing?
True, there's always a next step, or you want to have a new experience. You want to let's see if you can do the trick another time. So probably in the end, as a player, you always at a certain point you feel a certain urge. You want to take a next step. You need a new challenge. You're on a dead track, whatever. For example, at Ajax, I wanted a new challenge. I went to Juventus. At Juventus, I was a dead track. Ended up at Fulham. Stayed maybe a little bit, 1 or 2 years too long, but at the end I got the deal or the transfer that could finish my career at a high, and then playing 6 years. So probably at the end I will, at a certain point, you want to go for next challenge, but at the moment we're extremely fine here in Amsterdam.
Just one on a former connection at United, and that is around Sir Alex Ferguson. When players of his go on to be coaches, they always talk about how he is available for advice and always at the end of the phone, and they can talk to him. Bearing in mind that when, as part of his management, he's gone and given talks to Harvard Business School, and the management side of sport is very big for him. Is he there for you in that way as a CEO?
I have connections, of course, with Sir Alex, and we talk regularly. Let's say every couple of months, whatever. But so let's say the main focus point that I connected with was David Gill. Before I took up the job here in Amsterdam, I flew over to Manchester to speak to him. He said, "Don't bring your wife, because if your wife is going to hear what I'm going to say, you're not allowed to take up the job." So I put it in mind, but it's a challenging job. It's as a player, let's say you only have to focus on training, and that's it. But the deal making, the talks with other clubs, with federations, with unions, with the security, with government, with the local authorities, with the players, with the commercial guys. So it's amazing, to be fair. It's a great job.
My final one is a two-part thing then. You may have answered the first one, which is why aren't there more former players in your roles? Because
it's hard work.
Yeah, so I think you've answered that.
24/7, it's 7 days a week. It's not like whatever, watching 20 minutes of a game and then thinking that you can know how the team plays, and you have a scout, or you have also an analyst who gives you information. And you can talk with 2 or 3 guys in the studio. Yeah, you laugh a little bit, and you crack a couple of jokes, and you get paid a fortune in England.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
the ex-players, probably not you guys who are like the real.
The ex-players certainly get a lot more than I do, Edwin. I can guarantee that. And so the other part of that is then finally, as a former footballer in this role, when you walk into these meetings with government or commercial or European top tables or whatever, do you think you garner more respect as a former footballer, or does some of them look down on you because you only did your masters in business 4 or 5 years ago?
Probably. You're surrounded by, most of the time, very intelligent people who studied, people who are that made a great career. A lot of lawyers, for example, also around around the football tables and the clubs. But I think you need to be what are we talking about? We're talking about football. So even as a goalkeeper, also I couldn't win a game on my own. I could make sure we kept a clean sheet. We needed your defenders that the cross were not coming in, that the centre half is defending the striker. The midfielder was giving the pass. The striker needed to score the goal. So I need a good team also around me. So and that's something that as a goalkeeper I always looked from behind and making sure we went forward. Now being, let's say, the top guy, but I liked it to leading from the back, making sure that the circumstances are good for my staff, that the players are happy, that there is a chance of winning trophies. So in that way, it's I don't find it really that different of leading my defense from the back or leading the club, let's say, from the top down. And there are a lot of conversations, and I don't see that people looking down on former players, and especially if you deliver results, if you have something meaningful to say, then only knowing the knowledge from paper or from books.